Um, I just background really quickly. I was a nursing professor at UH for 24 years. I mean, I worked from assistant all the way up to full professor. And I retired a very long time ago. I was on the old rules, and I went out the first time that I could into retirement because I had become an energy healer. And I subsequently started a school called Sacred Path Healing, which is still functioning. Um, One of my graduates from the school, and we've got about 150 graduates now, um, is a doc. And I think that's how I got roped into doing this talk today. I never mind being interrupted with questions, etc. So just know that that's possible. And I have no idea from this group that is here what your um, awareness of energy healing is about, what you may know, what you don't know. Um, I think I got drawn into energy healing because I was frustrated, actually, with the lack of integration and the lack of wellness that was happening in healthcare. I worked part-time in one of the healthcare systems as a pediatric nurse practitioner as well. Um, and I just set out to try to find a path that felt more that it was supportive of my sense of being. And I ended up going to a workshop at a Unity Church, a women's work retreat, and they were asking that people go out and journal on the beach and then come up with what your dream was and then go make a collage. And honestly, I started out, dreams, what are those? I used to have dreams. I mean, I was not in a wonderful place or space. But at the end of just sitting there randomly writing, what came was family healing. And I just went, it was like a download. I was like, where did that come from? I don't even know what that is. I took a yoga class that was part of the workshop and loved it. It was a very spiritually based yoga. Went and talked to the teacher and asked her if she would come on Friday afternoons if I got three other girlfriends to join. So we started doing this yoga class. And I think the retreat was maybe in October, and in November, she said the teacher that she'd learned from was coming, and I didn't even ask what it was about. I went to this retreat, learned to start doing healing. Um, Literally, my hands just popped, and I could start running energy, and people started coming, and I started doing healings, and it was scaring me, frankly, because there was a lot of power running through. And I'm like, I don't know enough about this. So one day I just went, God, I need a master teacher now. And I had a halftime research project where I was out in the field. It was a project called Baby Safe, and I was working with substance abusing moms. If they stayed clean, they could work, and I was helping them with their babies and trying to get them off to a good start. And if they started using again, they went back to CPS. And this teacher, the yoga teacher, had said, if you're ever in Kailua, just stop by if you need a cup of tea or a clean bathroom to run use or whatever. So I stopped in at 4:31 Friday, and she handed me this book called Hands of Light. And I read it the entire weekend. I could not put it down. My kids were teenagers. I said, go order pizza, get yourself cereal for breakfast. And I finished it Sunday afternoon. And on the inside back jacket was a statement that there was a school. And I went, oh my gosh. So I ended up going to that school. It was a 4-year program. We had to fly into the East Coast, Upper Eastern Seaboard 5 times a year for 5 days at a time. And I went through that school. I got picked up to teach for them. So I was like student teaching for a couple of years as I was being trained. And then I taught 3 more years. And finally, they had moved to Miami, and the draw of going to Miami when you live in Hawaii was not very strong. And so I quit teaching and just started my school here and began to do that. So energy healing. I truly believe that anyone can learn to be energetically aware. High sense perception, which is using all of our physical senses that we're aware of, can evolve into this other manner of energetic sensing. And the way you're wired is how your high sense perception comes through. So people have vision, they have hearing, they have kinesthetic sense of touch. Some people smell, which can be not the most pleasant. Taste, I mean, it's the same kinds of things, but it evolves as one works to let their own energy field evolve and grow and develop. There are 4 dimensions of the human energy field. So probably everybody on this call has heard of chakra systems and knows maybe nothing more than the word, or you may know quite a bit. If you've done yoga or other kinds of training, you may have some sense of chakras, and that may be one of the most known. My sense is, and I know physicians can become acupuncturists and trained in doing acupuncture. One of the ways that I describe is the chakra system plugs into a vertical energetic line that runs through the center of our body. None of these are physiologic aspects, they are energetic. But this physical line that runs through our body has the chakras plugging in, just like you plug a light into the electric socket to get the current. There is on that center, often called the Hara line, or the vertical power current. There is this center that runs through. The chakras plug in. I believe that the meridian lines then are the step down units that run clear through the whole energy field. And I know that the meridian lines have been visualized, and if people have studied that at all, they're pretty comfortable with the fact that there really are meridian lines that run through one's system. Perhaps the chakras are a little less tangible, but once you begin to work at this, it's amazing how much it evolves and you begin to be aware. I just picked up the Hands of Light and began to read it, and there were exercises in the back of it that I thought, well, why not? Let me see if this works. And I began to do these exercises, and lo and behold, I began to have this high sense perception start to evolve. And it was an amazing experience. I have now been an energy healer for 30 years. I'm 80. It's been an amazing experience. I work both hands-on with people on my table, working through their energy field, but also I work long distance a great deal. And it really doesn't matter. The energy field is the energy field. And if it's in front of you okay, but you also can access an energy field energetically. I came home last evening, picked up looking at my text messages, and I had a text message from a former student of mine who's also a nurse practitioner and has a pretty amazing job in state systems here. And I won't go into more details on that, but her father had just had a massive stroke on the mainland, and she was saying, can you help? And I literally sat down and began to work with her dad, and his head was just not, I mean, it was so unbalanced. Energy was just flowing in there. I worked for a long time. It never righted. I mean, sometimes you can work with energy and somebody that's highly anxious or has had even a headache, nothing super serious, and you can move the pain out of the headache. You can reset the energy field, and people are much more calm and balanced. But this stroke is pretty significant. He did get into care, and probably got the clot busters, and we'll see what can happen, and how much he can recover. But I mean, that kind of thing isn't unusual for me in my life now to do this kind of long distance work. If these show up enough? No, maybe not. Maybe not. They're not going to work well enough the way this is going. So, and I didn't do slides, so I apologize. But let me just talk you through then. So to literally begin to access an energy field, I like to have people just breathe into your heart. Just breathe into your heart and breathe out. Our culture is so mental. So mental. And honestly, heart math knows that the energy of the heart is so much stronger than brain energy, actually. But we're taught, when you've done high professional work, a lot of schooling, just to use the mind so much, which is fine. I mean, we need that ability for sure. But to literally also be able to access your heart becomes so important. So if you so you're going to concentrate on your heart as you breathe in and out. Just be there. Drop down so you come dropping down out of your head, just to be in the heart, and just breathing out and in. And that alone can make a huge difference for people. So being aware of the heart, you can put your hand over your heart if you want to. I want you to also drop down even further and take your thumbs and put them in your umbilicus and let your fingers curve. So into that area, a couple of inches below, just where your fingers curve, that area is your tanden, or your lower center. And if you just drop down there and let yourself be aware of that center. And then take your lower hand and hold down so that you're pointing down toward the floor. You can be sitting or standing, and run this other hand up to your heart. And just be aware that there's a center line right in the center of your body that's holding you here. And then if you go out over your head, not where the baby soft spot is, but a little bit back, a little bit further on your head, is where this hara line goes all the way up. And some people, you don't even realize, but sometimes your hand is not straight. And so some people are really leaning very, very much more on their masculine side, their more assertive side. Some people are very passive. They're they're leaning on their passive side. If they're worried all about the future, this line can be to the forward. If they're stuck in the past, it can be in the past. So there's a lot revealing about what happens with that heart line that's the center of you. But if you can learn to literally keep yourself balanced and centered in that line, it just becomes life-changing. Anytime you're in a tense situation, just to be able to be balanced and centered really makes a huge difference. I find that most physicians are pretty grounded. I don't think you can get through, and other healthcare professionals, I don't think you can get through the training that is demanded and not be grounded, frankly. It's just an essential. But if you know that something's happened in the family, or there's been something upsetting, it's easy to get just pulled off that center. And if you just have a sense of, okay, get to my heart, get down here into this lower earth center, make sure I'm connected up to spirit. I mean, we are beings on this earth at the graciousness of Mother Earth, and we're spiritual beings. So if you learn to walk and move and be with that awareness, it can be pretty amazing. Then I want you to just have an experience of the chakra system. So if you're sitting, if you just take your hands and place them in front and behind you so that your hands are pointing downward, you're in balance and harmony. Your chakra is spinning the correct direction if it's spinning from the right front of your leg to the left, and then all the way in a big circle behind you. That first chakra it's multicolored. I mean, they all are, but the primary color that we relate to it is red, much like the beautiful blossoms that are behind your head, Chanel, on your screen. So if you just let yourself take a breath in your heart and just sink yourself down, so that you sink down, and letting that chakra spin from the right leg to the left. I mean, it's not that big, but in a clockwise manner. And it can look like it's counterclockwise, but this is what clockwise looks like. And there's a tone that helps. So I'm going to do Sanskrit chanting, but Govinde. And I don't know if that's coming through or not. Can you guys hear that, or you can't hear it? You can hear it. Okay. So Govinde. Govinde. And just breathe in red and breathe out. If you've had a really, really rough day, just coming home and doing this just helps you let it go, reset, restore yourself. It's amazing what just learning how to really be down in that first chakra does to help you. And then if you come up to your abdominal area, and that chakra, the chakras are front and back. So clockwise this way, but when you go to your back, it looks like it's the opposite motion, frontwise, backwards. This is the second chakra. It's usually associated with orange. It is more a liquid, energetic, much more the feeling center. So people that have had wounding, that are sad, that have had emotional distress, whether it's from childhood and it's pretty set in, or they have had something recently happen, this chakra front and back can get really messed up. The front chakras have to do with our feeling centers. The back have to do with will. So our ability to be here and to will ourselves into life. And hopefully we've got this, system functioning that is totally supporting us, totally helping us. But if someone's got grief, has had something very painful happen, just coming down and holding on this lower abdomen area and just, just letting the pain out can really help reset. And we get taught to stuff a lot in our culture rather than letting go of our feelings, ignoring them, pretending they're not there. So literally becoming comfortable. Music often helps with the center, or movement, or flow, dance. It's a fluid center. So these systems are structured, then unstructured. And then we come up to the third chakra, which is right at the above the umbilicus. The second is lower below it. The third is up above it. And again, the center in the front that way and in the back the other way. It's clockwise both ways.
And you said the front was feelings and the back was intention?
Yeah, or will.
Will, that's right.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. I am happy with anybody having questions about any of this, honestly. So I don't mind being asked. So this is our egoic center, our mental. The lower chakras have counterparts in the upper spiritual realm of our lives. But so this is our ego, our will. When it's balanced and we're in harmony, we have direct access to our heart from this center, and we're incredibly able to move in the world with compassion. But if we've learned to just be mental, get things done, just really, really working hard, we can forget our heart. And it leads to a lot of burnout. People just get fried sometimes from trying to keep going, pushing, doing, thinking, it just gets to be exhausting. This is the fire sign. So a tremendous amount of our digestive centers are through here also in this chakra. And there's a tremendous amount of illness and people having trouble with this area of life. So again, this center is yellow in color, and the sound that this makes is Hadiong, 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 and breathing in yellow. Just letting this balance, letting it be in harmony. And then if you come up to your heart, and this is where the lower centers have to do with living on the earth. This is the spiritual transition point. It has to do with love. The left side of our heart has to do with our own self-esteem chamber. So if we beat up on ourselves, look down upon ourselves, we're highly criticized as children, etc., our heart's pretty messed up a lot of times.
And isn't that easy to do?
Well,
we are our hardest critics, aren't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the more advanced education that one does, we become even more and more self-critical a lot of times. So the right front is the relationship chamber. So intimate relationship. So if there's been a lot of pain, a lot of grief, a lot of difficulty, this center can just be what I see is, I mean, just the color instead of being the beautiful colors that it should be. And the self-esteem chamber on the left is green, beautiful, radiant green, nurturing. And the right becomes pink or compassion, unconditional love. The back on the other side, because I'm not speaking of the physical heart, I'm speaking of the heart chakra, front and back. The back right is all your other associations, your family, your friends, your work colleagues. I mean, all the others that you associate with. Again, that's pink or for unconditional love. And then the back left, we have it's often described in certain religious teachings, a golden chain that comes right down from our soul, that we always have a piece of our soul that's still up on the other side in, you can call it heaven if you want to, whatever you want to call it. But that golden chain comes down, it goes right down into the back, and it literally connects into the conduction system of the heart. And so the time that we are on this earth, that golden chain is connected. And I can talk about in a minute, if you want me to, the energetics of what happens with death and dying. But ultimately that chain disconnects. But I will stop with that. Then we come up to this chakra. So I call that the bottleneck. It's very narrow through here. And any ways that people have had their voice thwarted, their hearing shut down, they've had dental issues, thyroid issues, shoulders. You know, the more uptight somebody is, they get so they're practically like this. The shoulders aren't relaxed. I mean, this whole center has so many aspects to it, and yet it is small to get through here. Front and back, sky blue. And that is the tone for that is Om, and it's just letting that literally open. So when one is able to be grounded and centered, everything plugged in, their heart connected, then the voice is relatively melodious, or at least it's not grating and hard to listen to, or so softly pitched that you can barely hear it. I had one student who had been adopted and had had not the easiest life, putting it mildly. And every time she spoke, she had this little high-pitched kind of grating voice that just, it drove her classmates nuts. I mean, it was hard to listen to it. When she finally fully dropped into her whole body and her sense of being, and that was when she finally fully accepted what it's like to be given up for adoption, and that she had a birth mother that she actually finally met, but her voice changed. It dropped. It wasn't this little high-pitched, annoying quality to it. It became, I guess you could say, full-throated. There was a whole different sound to it. It was the most amazing thing to witness. I mean, and her classmates were just like, you know, they immediately knew the difference. It was one of those beautiful moments in the healing school and our processing time that happened. So then we come up to the sixth chakra, which is sometimes called the third eye, front and back again. And this is a huge sensing organ. If people see energetically, it's through here, but there also are many aspects of high sense perception. One of my teachers said, Ruey, there are realms and realms and realms of perceiving. Vision isn't the only thing. And I was kinesthetic first. I could feel just everything. I could hear things, and seeing was later for me to develop. And it's kind of frustrating because we're such a sighted culture. Um, but I am amazed now what begins to evolve. I mean, it's really quite amazing. Trying to see, I would literally have my sixth chakra in the front so out, it was like I was trying to see, and I was pulling it out of the center, which would allow me to see. And one of my teachers pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh, okay, I got it. um, so it takes having tremendous patience with yourself as you evolve this, and it takes healing your own wounding, because the more you get your own stuff out of the way, the more clear that becomes. And then, so I just, the mantra that I put with this, but I can't hit this in my voice range, but it's Wahe Guru, Wahe Guru, Wahe Guru. And that's like opening the doorway. And then there's 1,000-petal lotus above that is petals going upward for connection to the divine, and petals coming downward so that we also are guided and given blessings. And that's Om Sohom. So that's one way that, and that's beautiful light. I mean, it's just white, golden, multicolored. It's amazing. But as you learn to really align this whole system, and everything's plugged into the vertical power current, life really changes tremendously. Even if someone gets very upset with you, you can hold. You don't get sucked into, and trying to defend. It's like just being able to listen and hold, and it's life-changing. It's just life-changing as that happens. We probably all have our point at which, if things escalate and escalate and escalate, where we may get pulled out. And that's like, oh, okay, there's someplace I still need to work. I got a little triggered there. But the more you do this work, I highly recommend meditation in whatever tradition works for you, whether it's a non-spiritual tradition, whether it's, any one of the deep spiritual paths. Meditation is amazing. I have recommended to people many times, and I have no connection financially in any way to this, but Deepak Chopra, who's a physician, Harvard trained, from India originally, has an app out. And you just go on the app store and put his name in, even, and it will show up. And there is a meditation daily of 10 minutes-ish, different people doing it. Sometimes it's him, but there are a lot of other people too. My niece, who has had a very complex life. Her mom died of cancer when she was 13, and her dad at 24. She helped take care of both of them. She's been on her own. Complex life. But she listens to that app every night before she goes to sleep. And no matter what kind of a day she has, she says it just helps her reset and be able to go into peaceful sleep at night. And I've had other people really find that app helps them tremendously. And there are others too. That's just one that I happen to like because I think it has a lot of integrity, but there are others that you could turn to. So that's kind of quick and dirty. There are many more aspects to it, but a quick and dirty run through the human energy field. In doing healings, I usually use a pendulum or high sense perception. Honestly, I don't do a pendulum all the time anymore, but that's how we teach people to begin to access chakras. And you just put the pendulum down, and here I can show you the chakra on my hand. The pendulum will literally show the direction. So we were blessed to learn in the Brendan School how to read chakras. And so what you want is that clockwise rotation. But there are many other, when someone's not balanced, there are all these other things that happen with chakras. So you can do an assessment before you work on someone to know where some of the problem areas are in their energy field. And it's an amazing journey. People truly feel differently. I just worked with a young man who had a very, very complex abusive childhood, and he ended up living on the streets from early junior high or middle school, they call it now, on. And he'd had many really not easy things happen. And he was telling him about it. And he says, I just feel weighted down by all this. And just as he said that, I could see this really dark black energy just sitting right there. And one of the things I teach is how to lift stuff out of the field that shouldn't be there. And I just immediately cleared it, and, I send it out. That was a huge change already for him. That can feel kind of horrible and scary. What the heck are you talking about? But there is an amazing book by a woman psychiatrist who was from India, not trained in any of this stuff. And she began to do therapy. And she went, man, there's stuff I certainly didn't learn about in medical school that I've got to begin to access. And she began to really delve and work. And she talks about past lives, about entity possession, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a beautiful prayer in her book, which really helps if somebody needs that kind of clearing and protection that they can begin to do. I have to, when I'm in this mode, I can't get over to access, but I'll get it to you. I'll tell you what that book is if you guys want me to let you know. So, energy healing is absolutely multi complex. I love holding people during surgeries. It is, I can tell at the first incision, I can tell at the sew up at the end, I know I can get out of the field. And I just out from my own family, I will share one thing that happened. I have a beautiful son who I was pregnant with on the North Carolina base that has all those ads in the paper for pollution, the water pollution that happened. I didn't know about that at the time, but we were in officers' quarters. Camp Lejeune is the name of the base. And many years later, I woke up to a phone call from my son one morning saying, Mom, I've got a brain tumor. I also had lost a daughter when she was 27 years old. And I just thought, oh my God, are you going to make me lose another child? I mean, the grief that a mother goes through at the loss of a child and father, excuse me, parents, family, is beyond the beyond. And it turned out that the tumor was in the meningeal area. It wasn't within the brain, but it had gotten so big on this side that it was pushing out here with headaches and vision difficulties and veins. He's a bolo head, so the veins showing, etc. And thank God, his wife was texting her sister, who's a physician, and they were in New York. And she said, get to New York Columbia Presbyterian. And he got the top neurosurgeon in the country to do his surgery. It was 11 hours. And I got up and started holding him during that surgery. I could feel all this going on. I would text his wife and say, do you know anything yet? 11 hours later, he was finally out of surgery. And it was a rough recovery too, but he made it. And what he said to me, my son, who literally, as I started into this whole energy healing walk with my life, was, Mom, don't tell people. Mom, don't talk about this. He said to me, I've been with God, Mom, and I know that the most important thing in life is to be kind. And this man, I tell you, I mean, he brings me to tears amazingly over and over and over and over. I mean, he always had a kindness to him, but he had a lot of hurt from things that had gone on in his life. What a change. I mean, it's just a transformation. And his wife is just like, wow, wow. So, you know, holding him through that was amazing. And it was COVID, but his son and I got on a plane and went, and I was with him as he was getting the staples out of this huge incision that he had, just energetically kind of holding so it wasn't so painful. We found him a physical therapist who was also had been a personal trainer that worked with him as he had to do radiation also, just so that this would never come back. But you know, I didn't even think about the connection with Camp Lejeune until all these ads started to come up. And I'm like, I wonder, I was drinking that water. And then he has a cousin whose wife also had a brain tumor, non-cancerous, that had to have a surgery. Her mother was pregnant on that same base during that time of that contaminated water. I mean, you go, wow, you know, this took years to unfold, but one wonders. And the boys put in for being in that lawsuit and they got turned down. So, I mean, it's okay. But one wonders. So helping with surgeries, just helping people coming, just wanting to feel better, helping people with physical illnesses. I've done a lot of work with cancer patients. Never do I want them not doing medical care. Please understand that. I believe in the integration of all this, not separation. I also often refer to a couple of naturopaths because I think they do some very amazing additions and help people tremendously with doing this whole walk with cancer. But I find that when people are doing radiation burns out the energy field. And if they can get healing, I especially want people coming on Friday after they've had their 5 treatments during the week, so Friday afternoon, so that energy field can just get restored. And it becomes really important to do that. The other thing that I didn't talk about is that the energy field literally extends out to the edge of your fingertips. It isn't just the chakra system and that energy field running through. There are levels of the energy field that all go out more and more and more and more. And once you know what those levels are and how to they go structured, unstructured, structured, unstructured, all the way out. Once you know how to also help restore any breaks, tears, etc. I mean, radiation burns and destroys the structured levels and puts a lot of debris in the unstructured levels. Any kind of super trauma, accident, a surgery, any way that there's injury, that those levels of the field get ripped, torn, shredded, filled with debris on the unstructured levels. There's a lot of work you also do in the outer edges of the field. So sometimes with healing, you're not even touching the body, you're lifting things out. But it's clearing and helping tremendously for the healing process. So I think I will stop and see if there are questions at this point. I know I've talked a lot, and I am happy to entertain any kinds of questions.
Well, I have a question. Were you with your son during his neurosurgery? Not
No, I was
physically.
long distance. He was in New York and I was here in Hawaii.
Okay, so you can do this long
Anyway,
distance.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Um,
And when I first heard that, I mean, coming straight out of nursing professorship, I'm like, what the heck are they talking about?
and
But
how do you so the question, how do you energetically hold someone long distance? How do you
I just ask for their energy field to be present. And I mean, with my son, I just held his head. And sometimes I was lifting out debris, as they were working. Um, every once in a while, I'd have to run to the bathroom, drink some water. I mean, it was a long haul. I was exhausted when that finally ended. And his wife said when the surgeon came to tell her, I mean, she said he just looked absolutely spent from 11 hours grinding at it. I mean, I know there were others in the room, but it was a long haul. It sounds really weird, I know, but it's amazing work. And I mean, I've had people that were in a ICU situation that were not responsive, get a phone call, will you see what you can do? That was to the East Coast, I mean, the West Coast, and I just held the person, it started working, and they woke back up. They woke back up. And they'd been totally out, comatose, not responsive. Um, I help also, the other thing I didn't talk about was death and dying, but also you can really assist people as they're getting ready on the dying process. I've started up as people are leaving their body, and I get up a certain level and then it's like, okay, back down you go. But it really can assist someone, especially if they're afraid in the dying process. So it's kind of a multi-faceted journey, actually.
it's
And
fascinating. How would we go about finding an energy healer locally?
well, it's not easy there. We aren't out there in the public. My website, sacredpathhealing.com, has got a few people listed that help teach with me.
Say that again, sacred,
Path Healing.
sacred
And the
path.
school is called Sacred Path Healing School. Um, and I also could help refer. I mean, I still see people myself, but I'm not trying to recruit here. But I also can refer. What I mean, we've got 150 graduates. Not everybody becomes an energy healer. I've got teachers whose classroom teaching has transformed. A Kamehameha teacher told me that she was always known as a very strict, high standard teacher. Students never came to her with personal problems. And in her second year of healing school, all of a sudden, students were coming, could I talk to you? And they were just pouring their hearts out to her. So it's amazing what that does. I've got several people that are licensed massage therapists, which if they don't have any other license, getting a massage therapy license is smart because there's no licensure, there's no nothing for, I mean, there's some really wackadoodle stuff out there too with energy healing. And I understand why people are not, not very supportive of it and think it's hocus pocus, etc. Um, that's it,
Yeah, here's a good question. So what should one do if another person sends negative energy your way? For instance, says hurtful things towards you, curses you, or gives you the middle finger.
well, you can get it cleared. If you need help, you can ask for help to clear it. The more you learn to reset your energy field every day, and you literally have a very strong outer boundary all the way around you, honestly, you won't get invaded most of the time. It will just come at you and flick off. But if that happens and you can't get it cleared, I would either recommend, if you've got a church minister, whatever, that does deep prayer, or finding a healer to help clear you, because it really can make a difference. I worked with a woman clear back when I was still in the Brennan School who had multiple personality or associative disorder. What a journey that was. She taught me so much, but I would not see that woman without the minister who wanted to bring her to me. And sometimes in the process of doing those healings, I mean, those were a wild ride because she'd go like this and then another personality would come out. And I would just be going, Evelyn, 22nd, I mean, the 23rd Psalm, or Evelyn, the Lord's Prayer, please, and I mean, we just had major prayer also going. So prayer, if you have that in your tradition at all, is incredibly powerful, actually.
Have you, by any chance, remembered the name of the book?
Um, yes, it's Remarkable Healings by Modi, Modi. I can't tell you her first name right now,
All
but
right.
Modi.
Remarkable Healings. Okay, let me put, I think I've got the link here. And then, let's see, the, think this,
Shantala Modi, there it is. Shantala Modi, Remarkable Healings.
all right. So hopefully this went to that. And then tell me your website again. I didn't get it.
It's www.sacredpathhealing.com.
Sacred Caps?
Path,
Ah,
PATH, sacredpathhealing.com.
great. Okay. Ah, there we are. Okay. I'll put this in the, oh, very nice. Nice picture and everything. I'll put this in the box there. And then,
Well, and Dr. Deb, who I don't know whether Dr. Deborah Eggles, who's the Queen Stock, she's the graduate who's gone through my school. I mean, she's just wonderful. She sees literally into the physical body energetically now.
wow.
And she's been
Wonderful.
a little shy. I mean, she's like, because she's definitely a practicing doc,
Mm-hmm.
but she's pretty darn good. So
Wow.
a
Okay.
lot of you guys are in the health professions. I think for you to know about her is a good thing.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, lots of thanks in the chat. And was there a question I missed? Next week, we're hearing about social determinants of health, social and racial equity, or stigma by Dr. Bradley Heward. And thank you so much. So many
Oh, you're
thanks.
welcome.
This was wonderful.
I see
Uh,
Lori has her hand up. Lori Isaki.
Yes,
oh, yes, thanks.
another
Hi,
question.
Lori.
Hi. Thank you, Ruey. It was really helpful to hear and a lot resonated. I'm a mental health professional and I've gotten trained in somatic experiencing, Dr. Peter Levine's work. And so a lot of it felt like it was overlap, but I haven't heard from an energy healer, sort of like the language and the way that you see it. Have you heard of somatic experiencing?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you like through your lens of energy healing, do you see like overlap? Like how would you sort of conceptualize that in terms of energy work?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, and all the trauma work, I think all of this fits together, and probably each person comes who's their training brings them to the ways that they operate and see. I do say about psychology, and forgive me, but talk therapy helps people tremendously, tremendously, but it doesn't always get at the energetics.
Mm-hmm.
And healing, I've co-worked with psychologists sometimes with
Mm-hmm.
a client, and that's been profound.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the the marriage of the two would be an amazing thing.
Yeah. My Western training is in like mental health, but the somatic experiencing very much is the bottom up, the body, like through senses, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
integrating the two. Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to hear if you
I
could
think that all goes together. I think,
yeah, there's a lot of overlap there. So thank you. It's introducing me to kind of know even more pathways to explore it. So yeah, thanks.
thank you.